Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. Good evening everyone, this is Crossbone Vanguard. I'm Dempster and I'll be your host for today. Crossbone Radiowave is a radio show dedicated to bringing you anything and everything Cardfight Vanguard and Crossbone Vanguard, including updates, announcements and so on. Keep in mind that Crossbone Radiowave is not an official radio show and is entirely inspired by Hibiki Radio's Vanguard, Radio Vanguard G and Radio Vanguard G Next. It's only the second episode and I'm already messing so much, but hey, you guys enjoyed the very first episode and I'm really glad to hear that. We're really glad to hear that. So we're back with even more content, I hope. So in any case, this week we have quite a lot of things to talk about because recently the Bushiroad World Championship for Vanguard is over. It's concluded. So have you guys actually watched the live stream or actually participated in it? Because I didn't. Okay, but well, there are quite a lot of variety, and by a variety I mean a lot of people who play the same things. So looking at the finalists, the list of people who actually made it to the finals, half of them, my voice actually just went straight there. Half of them are actually playing Gear Chronicle. Oh my goodness, what is going on with this world? Well, Gear Chronicle has always been known to be a protagonist clan. Well, it actually is, and it still is now. But there are a few variations to it, especially the clan such as... what am I talking about? Okay, essentially, Gear Chronicle has a few builds. One of them being the Chronojet build with what was that? With the original time leap mechanic, as well as Gear Groovy, and of course, not to mention other things like the current Pulsar, Meta Pulsar, or the Zodiac Time Beast build, and of course the Chrono Fang with Demiurge and things like that. So that up to now, there really isn't a lot of variations that can be considered meta. And just below Gear Chronicle is Grand Blue. Now, Grand Blue has always been known to be meta since I can't remember when, because I wasn't in when it became meta, I guess, but it is always known to be very, very deadly in terms of Grade 1 Rush, especially the 7 Seas build. So a lot of people would tend to play that and in hopes of trying to outrush your opponent before they get to do anything. Another build will be the Night Rose, but Night Rose is more conditional, so I think people will go for the safer choice. Now, what I did not expect was that, Royal Paladin was not as popular, I guess, not compared to Gear Chronicle and Grand Blue, of course. And of course, Link Joker. Link Joker was a very famous choice back then. But what caught me off guard was actually Victor. Well, not really Victor, but Nova Grappler. Nova Grappler has come back and as part of the finalists, and I'm really excited to see what the build is. But if I were to guess, it's actually was it the Victor build? I'm not too sure, but do let me know, because all I'm looking at right now is just the list of finalists and not actually the deck list itself. So hey, you can blame me for being uninformed right now, but on another news, we also have the updated ban list for the Japanese Vanguard. So this is quite interesting actually, because well, even though they are just the original ones, there's also updated cards such as 7 Seas Apprentice Night Runner, Steam Battler Uruwata, and Sanctuary Guard Dragon. And not only that, Lizard Soldier Conroe is now removed from the ban list, so you can now use him as the first Vanguard, which is really interesting because it has been banned ever since the start of Vanguard actually. So I can't exactly remember what the reason for that is, but apparently it was because Kagero was in the meta back then, so Lizard Soldier Conroe was quite threatening. And of course, compared to things like Mecha Trainer isn't as bad because even though Spike Brothers can be known to be very hard hitting and relentless, not many people play that, and I think not many. There aren't many combos to it. The only way to fully utilize Mecha Trainer right now is to search out your PG or your Strike Father or whatsoever. Whereas in Kagero, you can get to fish out a lot more things. And also, in addition to that, there's also the way to search out Nova Roman Dragon. So things like that. So it's the second episode, and I'm already getting the jitters. But let's just get on with the main show. So Are you ready? Here we go. Stand up, Vanguard! Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. This program is brought to you by Crossbone Vanguards. Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. Good evening once again, this is Dempster. Now let's start with talking about the most recent episode for the anime Cardfight Vanguard G Next Turn 15 Battlefield First Stage, or in Japanese it's called Ransen First Stage. So the under 20 tournament is finally on the way. It has finally begun. So the first stage of the tournament is called the Cray Scramble, where teams will be transported to Cray and move around freely until they encounter a fighter from another team, detected by the FIDAR, or the fighter's radar, embedded into the wrist like some sort of a high-tech tattoo. Well, when that happens, the fight will begin and they cannot refuse the fight. So they have to fight in it. And the winner will receive a point as well as half of the loser's total number of points. The loser's FIDAR will then lock, and the loser will be sent to the drop zone until he can be revived when another of his team members win a fight. So it's essentially another team effort thing, but it's mostly individual in that you can accumulate the score on your own, but you will require your teammates' help if you mess up somewhere. So if all the team members lose, then the whole team will be disqualified, and the first 16 teams who get 50 points first will advance to the next round. So, you know, it's really funny how it's perfectly normal, like, for a whole crowd of teenagers who are under 20 and with attitudes, by the way, I might add, suddenly disappear from the tournament hall and nothing ever happens. And I mean, this could be a huge deal if it would have happened in real life, you know. Then again, our current technologies don't really allow us to do teleportation of any kind, and even if that were possible, everyone would be calling the police wondering, where the heck did my children go, you know, and the credibility of the tournament just will go down faster than a one-way trip to hell. But hey, who am I to complain? I'm not an organizer myself, so alright, so this week's fight features Chrono against Nishizawa Arata, who is a Tachikaze user and the leader of Team New Nippon. So for all of you long-time fans of Vanguard, this should be a very familiar name. It's a team led by Chrono's father, Shindo Rive, and his members are Mark Sensei and Nita Shin. It's really funny though how Arata thought Rive was dead and Chrono's internally like, dude, my dad's still alive. But I guess it wouldn't make sense that Chrono would tell him right off the bat that, hey, my dad's still alive, because that would kind of drop Chrono's cool and badassery down by a lot. I'd say by 2 grades. But who knows, you know, I mean, it won't hurt to tell the other party that your dad's still alive, right? I mean, this is quite an important thing. I mean, you got pissed off when Ibuki didn't tell you anything and you had to find it out for yourself. Well, by your aunt, but still. So the fight itself was very close, with both ends hitting each other with multiple attacks. But of course, Chrono won with his protagonist armor, so... So in this fight, the new units for Tachikaze also debut, such as Blockade Ganga, Gaia Desperate, and Gaia Dynast. So the skills for Gaia Desperate and Gaia Dynast is already out, in fact, as of this recording. So let me just fetch it up real quickly and try to decipher what the skills actually are. It's actually in my group media, so oh, very convenient. So Gaia see, I messed up the name. So Gaia Dynast has 3 skills. First of all is an Engorge skill. His second one is a GB3 skill. So when this unit retires a rear guard, you may pay the cost, which is you may counterblast 1. So if you do call that card to the rear guard circle during that turn, that unit and this unit plus 3k. 3000 power. And his other skill is also the Vanguard skill. So when this unit is becomes Engorge, you may pay the cost, which is to flip 1 Gaia Dynast face up. So if you do, choose one of your rear guards and retire all the units in the same column as that unit and countercharge 1. So essentially you can retire maximum up to 2 at once. So for Gaia Desperate, which is the new grade 3, hand in hand with Gaia Emperor, he's got three skills as well. His first skill is of course Engorge, but what's interesting is that his Engorge skill is a Vanguard rearguard skill. So if he's on a rearguard circle, you can use him to attack. You can use him to attack and Engorge at the same time. And not just that, his Engorge so-called skill is it's a continuous GB2 skill. So when this unit is engorging, this unit plus 5k. Then if this unit is your Vanguard, he gets plus 1 critical. So he has the extra threat of 1 critical when he is in the Vanguard circle. And well, if he's just in a rearguard circle, hey, that's another 5k for your opponent to throw out the guard. And of course, his strike skill is choose your Vanguard with the engorge ability, and for the turn he gets the skill. When this unit is becomes engorged, you may put a cross which is counterblast 1. If you do, draw a card. So this also helps. It's also similar to Gaia Emperor in that you can get to draw, or is it another card? I can't remember. But anyway, so it works. I guess it works slightly differently from Gaia Emperor in that Gaia Emperor helps you reinforce your field, but Gaia Desperate helps you reinforce your hand, which makes it easier for you to call units out to reinforce your field and increase your chance of engorging. So, wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so card skills out of the way. Another thing that bothered me in the anime was that Kazumi's team, which is Diff Riders, was the only team that made it to the second stage. And not only that, he also defeated Tokuha and Shion in the process. So it led me to think that he challenged them on purpose, since, you know, he knows that they'll get higher points than any other team. I mean, after all, they are the Generation Masters, and also beat them to the punch, literally. So I really hope that Tokuha and Shion will come back from the drop zone and actually make it to the second stage along with Chrono. But until then, hey, we can only speculate. So in the meanwhile, let's all take the episode with a pinch of salt and wait for the next one. Next, I'm also very happy to say that we got a fan mail. Woo! So this mail is from Mac Massimo channel, so thank you very much. So the mail reads, "Hi guys, I'm a great fan of yours, thank you very much. Love the idea of this new show on your channel. Keep on going." Alright, we definitely will. Anyway, I wanted to ask a question. I live in Italy, and here the Vanguard is really behind the original BTO4, even though there are some shops that also sell English cards. What I wanted to ask is, should I focus on the old cards, since later I'll probably won't be able to retrieve them, even though the game's still slow, or on the English new cards to have a game that's already at full potential? Well, this is a very, very good question actually, but if you ask me, if in your country there are more English players than Japanese players, I'd say go with the English ones, because I'm very sure that all the countries that are involved with Vanguard in this world are already catching up to whatever the language the sets are at the moment. So in this case would be Revival Collection. So if you manage to get your hands on those, I'd say go for them as well. But if it's the other way around, whereby there are more Japanese players than English players, then you might want to consider getting cards online from places like TCG Japan, Big Web, or places like that where you can actually get singles, because BTO4 is really very, very old. And I'm assuming here that you are talking about the Japanese language, so I would say that if you want to stick to Japanese, you can do so, but do make sure that, I mean, if your country doesn't have the sets that are updated as the rest of the world, I'd say think about what deck you want to build, have a complete deck list, and make sure you don't change it, and get the cards you need accordingly as singles, either online or from somewhere else. So I hope this answers your question, and once again, thank you very much for sending the fan mail to us. And of course, we will be awaiting fan mails from you guys, so keep those fan mails coming. We really love to read them. Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. Next up is, What's That Card? So this is the section where I'll pick a random card from a random clan and describe it in the most cryptic way possible, and you guys are to guess what card I am describing. I will announce the answer at the end of the show, so listen on if you want to know if you're correct. So prior to this, I have already chosen a clan, and the clan is Murakumo. Yes, and the card I've chosen here is a very interesting card actually. Well, this card is a grade 3. It's got the twin drive, like duh. And it's got 2 skills. So I won't say what the skills are, so let's see. The power is 11k, so in case you're wondering whether it's 10k or 11, it's 11, so don't worry about that. Let's see now. And also, well, the whole card itself is a good mixture of white and red. There are a few black here in between and stuff, and well, It's really hard to describe this card by being cryptic, but I would say that this card dresses quite a bit like the Red Riding Hood. So if you remember the fairy tale, you remember how the setting is like, this card is something like that, but of course the origins are totally different. So okay, let me recap. It's a grade 3 twin drive, 2 skills. It's 11k grade 3, and the whole color scheme for this is red and white, and the unit looks like a Red Riding Hood. I think at this point it's very, very obvious to you guys what the answer is, but if you don't, keep your brains racking and keep your mind thinking, because I'll announce the answer at the end of the show. So enjoy and have fun trying to figure out what this card is. Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. Card trivia of the day. This is the section where I pick a certain card and talk about it in as many details as possible, such as the skill it has, the artwork, its use in the deck, and of course random trivia about the unit. If you have any picks on what card you would like me to talk about, feel free to drop a comment on our social medias or send us an email, all of which will be mentioned at the end of the show. So today's card is actually suggested by Isaac Bigham, so thank you very much for the suggestions. So what's the card that we're going to talk about? I'm too excited. So what's the card I'm going to talk about today? It is Mystic Beast Fenrir. Ooh. So Fenrir is a grade 3 Ace Vanguard for the GRA Genesis, and again has 2 skills. His first skill is a Generation Break 2 auto skill, in that when this unit attacks the Vanguard, you may pay the cost, which is Soul Blast 3. If you do, this unit gets +1 critical, and your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater units from hand to the Guardian Circle. His second skill, which is the Strike skill, is that when your G unit strikes, you may pay the cost, which is Counter Blast 1. And if you do, Soul Charge 3, and your Vanguard gets the once per turn skill. When your card is put into your drop zone from your soul, you can Counter Blast 1 and call that card to the rearguard circle. So when this card first came out, it was a bit of a problem with the cards that came along with it, because in the long run you have a lot of cards in your soul, but very little way of utilizing them unless you ride up to the alternate grade 3 at that time, which was I can't remember the name, but it's you can Soul Blast 6, I believe, and gets 5k 1 critical. But that's about it. There really isn't much. At least. Yeah, so anyway, but with the new cards and the new mechanic Revelation in GBT08, soul management is a lot more important, because you can actually run out of souls this time to use. But personally, I like how the new Fenrir build works out in conjunction with all the Revelation cards, especially with the increase in power. Not only that, Fenrir's Strike skill also helps you reinforce the field for additional attack or power, or if you're running out of cards in your deck. You can always choose to call Dreaming Dragon, shuffle your whole drop zone back to the deck, and to prevent yourself from decking out. I actually managed to turn the tables around and prolong the game thanks to that. I was actually fighting with one of our friends, Jasmine, and she was using Infinite Zero and I was using Fenrir. So at that point, I was down to 1 card in my deck. Obviously, my Vanguard couldn't attack and my front row rear guards were all locked. So I couldn't get some power in. So what I did was I called Dreaming Dragon from my hand and called it out. So and without attacking, I ended the turn immediately and shuffled my whole drop zone back to the deck. Oh, the look on Jasmine's face when she looked at me in awesomeness, I guess, I don't know. But it was like, oh my god, you can actually do that, and I was like, yeah, I can. So what's decking out again? And not only that, I get 1 extra draw. So hey, you know. I could actually do something the next turn and don't have to worry about soul or whatsoever. Jasmine, if you're listening to this, just a side note, try to attack me 4 times in a row and I'll still PG you 4 times again. Okay, so anyway, the Fenrir himself is actually from Norse mythology, and his lore is a very, very interesting one. I actually had a lot of fun reading up about Fenrir. So he's also known as, okay, forgive me if I mess up the pronunciation, but he's also known as Fenrisufa, Hrudvinir, or Vanaganda. Yep, Vanaganda, you know, the G unit that allows you to manipulate your drive checks, which explains why Fenrir and Vanaganda's designs are so close to each other. Fenrir is also the son of Loki, the god of chaos or mischief, and the giantess Angerboda. Fenrir also shares parents with Hel, the goddess of the grave or the countercharger perfect guard, or Yomungan, the world serpent, and also the great 2 that gets plus 1k for every card that goes in the drop zone for the soul. Fenrir also has 2 sons, Skoll, the hunter of the sun, and Hati, the hunter of the moon. Yep, Skoll, the strike folder and Fenrir searcher, and Hati, which is the Great One variant of Yomungan. So, prophecy foretold that a wolf would kill Odin and bring about Ragnarok, which is the end of the world. So when Fenrir was born, the gods were very, very scared of him. So to prevent that from happening, they tried to chain him down, and they did it twice actually, but they failed both times because he was strong enough to break free of the chains. Finally, the gods said, like, you know what, forget this, I'm going to commission the dwarves to forge a chain that will be impossible to break. So they did just that. So this chain, which is as thin as a silken ribbon, he actually managed to secure Fenrir, and his name was called Gleipnir. You know, the same name of the unit that lets you soul charge 3 when it attacks and is boosted, and lets you draw a card if you have put cards in your drop zone during that turn. So if Skoll would swallow the sun and Hati would swallow the moon, Ragnarok would then arrive and Fenrir would be free. Then he would join Yomungan in the fields of Vigridr and fight an intense battle against the gods, where he would devour Odin as the prophecy foretold, but in turn be killed by Odin's son Vidar. So, well, I guess that didn't happen because it's all wood, and it's all, you know, but anyway. Alright, onto the design itself. The art is drawn by Daisuke Izuka, which also did the art for other cards such as Chaos Breaker Dragon, Dragonic Overlord the Cross, and so on and so forth. The overall color of the card is in various shades of blue, which is my favorite color, so there's nothing much to complain about. The golden chains and the talisman-like things around him, it seems to resemble Gleipnir, and the chains have a crystal at one end, which makes the whole thing resemble a pendulum, which is a tool that responds to your thoughts or your spirit guide, which is a very fitting weapon for Fenrir if you ask me. The storm behind Fenrir as well as his pulse, despite the chains binding him, can be inferred to as a sign of Ragnarok, and what you're looking at is the supposed end of the world. So if you want to know how the end of the world looks like without having to experience it, just imagine a pretty wolf boy in blue reaching out to grab you while a tornado rises from behind him. And the next thing you know, his fangs will come into you. I don't know. I don't think any of us know how the end of the world is like, but if the prophecy was like that, then I guess that would happen. I don't know. Okay, so that is all for the card trivia of the day. So let me know what card you'd like me to talk about next. Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. Crossbone information. This is where we bring you news about upcoming releases, local events, and insights about Crossbone Vanguards. G-Character Booster 2 We Are Trinity Dragon is now on sale in Japanese format. This set includes further support for Oracle Think Tank, Dimension Pulleys, and Great Nature. Now, in the previous episode, I mentioned that it will be released on the 13th of January, Saturday, which I made a mistake, supposed to be Friday. So sorry about that. Let me just clear it up. And as well as in the English format, Revival Collection has now been released. So this set boosts all the clans with cards that are either very hard to find or never before printed in English. So be sure to get these boosters and strengthen your decks. The anime Cardfight Vanguard G-Next airs at Cardfight Vanguard's official YouTube channel every Sunday at 10 AM. At the same time, tune in to Crossbone Vanguard's YouTube channel for a new card fight every Thursday at 6 PM. That is all for Crossbone information. Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. This marks the end of today's episode of Crossbone Radiowave. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I had doing it, because every single episode I actually really had a lot of fun, so I'm gonna keep on saying that. So before we get on to anything, have you guys figured out what the card or what the card in What's That Card is? Because if you haven't, here's the answer. The answer is Fantasy Petal Storm Shirayuki. Yay! Applause if you actually get it right. Woo! So with the power of 11k, she's a grade 3. She has 2 skills. Her first skill is a limit break 4 skill. So at the beginning of the guard step of the battle that this unit was attacked, you may pay the cost, which is Counter Blast 1 and Persona Blast 1. If you do, choose an attacking unit and the unit gets minus 20k until the end of that battle. And her second skill, which is a continuous Vanguard Rearguard skill, is Lord, whereby she cannot attack if you have units of other clans in this on the field. So I'm not sure how her utility is right now because I haven't seen a deck that's exclusively Shirayuki, but well, only time will tell. So in any case, if you have any fan mails you would like to send to us, do know that we accept them and we'll be waiting for them, in fact. So if you do have one, send it over to our email at crossbonevanguards@gmail.com. So that's crossbone@gmail.com. Once again, that's crossbone@gmail.com. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask us, feel free to send them to us as well. Of course, you can send them to us at our socials. We are on Twitter at CrossboneVGS, Facebook at Crossbone Vanguards, and not to mention, follow us on our blog at crossbonevanguards.com, where we post deck profiles, event coverages, and other things that we cannot post on our YouTube channel. So next week, we're going to have a very special guest with us, and his name is Leon. So all of a sudden he's not very special. Nah, just kidding. But he'll be joining me as a guest in the next episode of Crossbone Radiowave. So if you want to hear more information about him, or if you want to know more about him, or what are the things he likes, and of course, or if you just want to hear us talk it out, I'll talk each other and stuff, do check out next episode of Crossbone Radiowave every Wednesday, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. So once again, thank you all for listening, and we will see you again in the next episode. Tangendo! Good night! Crossbone Radiowave, bringing you the fun in Cardfight Vanguard. This program has been brought to you by Crossbone Vanguards.